there is a lot of autonomy for people here in Peine, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. So a good thing because people run, there are about 10 different organisations in this town of maybe 300 or 400 people. They have a water committee that looks after the water infrastructure. They have an electricity committee that looks after the infrastructure of electricity and makes sure that everybody pays for their lights. They have a committee that is the Comunidad Indígena, the Indigenous Community Directorate. They have a Junta de Vecinos, which is the which you could say it's sort of like a small municipality, like a small local council, and then the Comunidad Indígena is more about territorial rights, and that started with the indigenous law. I understand this area of Chile to be also part of a sort of broader Andean tradition where labour and communal labour is part of what it is to be a person in society, that communal labour makes you a proper person. So people now say, well, you know, things have changed, you know, since everybody has jobs in the mines. It means that life is more complicated and not everybody participates like they used to. So, but still people participate in communal work. So I've participated in communal work while I've been here as well, to clean the streets before a religious festival. And to do that, people have, you know, get together in the morning. A roll is called of all of the socios, that is adult responsible members of the community. A roll is called if there is a representative of each house. If there's no representative present, then they pay a fine. So to be a socios is to be a responsible adult member of the community, and that means picking up your end of work and taking part in things.
Has mining certainly impacted the way socios operates as a system?
Time has impacted that, and mining is part of that time. So mining, the smaller of the lithium mines here on the salar, started up in the late 1970s, and people immediately looked for work there and got work there. And that brought a new kind of wealth, a cash wealth, to this town.
Now you mentioned water and mining can't be separated, and I think one of those water stories is quite important here in terms of how water came to Peine, in terms of how they opened up another spring to deliver water. Can you just tell us that story?
I can tell it quite briefly. It's a really the story that I've been told by many different people is a story of some importance to Peine.
Cuando el agua llega a Peine, primero todos felices, llegó el agua, ¿no es cierto?, a nuestras casas.
El agua de Chaquisoque.
Entonces también, como todo acá se hace en común, todos se ayudan, era muy bonito eso, llegó el agua para todos.
Y trabajaban fuerte para hacerlo. Sí.
Muchos no trabajaron activamente. Entonces igual hubieron reglas o acuerdos de cómo hacer para que esto se compense. O sea, entre los que sí trabajaron, los que trabajaron menos o los que no trabajaron por distintos motivos. Entonces, bajo acuerdos se llegan a normas de cobros, ¿no es cierto?, para balancear esto, para estar todos felices. El agua es de todos. Pero después se produce un uso irresponsable del agua. La venta, ¿no es cierto?, empresas, de repente el mal uso, la falta de administración responsable del agua en las casas. Entonces, entre todos se decide también ponerle un costo para que eso produzca un poco de conciencia. ¿No es cierto?
Sí, ¿no es cierto?
Sí. Entonces ahí viene ponerle valor al agua, pero no como con un fin de lucro, ¿no es cierto? No hacer un negocio, sino más bien control, hacer un control del agua. Entendemos el valor que yo explicaba, el agua es un ser, ¿no es cierto?, respetable, no menos importante que otros, no menos importante que nosotros y muy necesario. tanto como quizás cada uno de nosotros también.
Sí.
Pero a la vez ese también representa una variedad de valores, valores que le podríamos llamar a lo mejor hasta económicos, entre comillas, ¿no es cierto? Para que este pueblo exista tiene que existir agua. Entonces no hay mucha agua, en resumen.
In resumen.
Sí.
The water came to the town. The authorities insisted on connecting everybody to this water infrastructure, which caused some tensions among people, seeing as part of the deal in the communal work was that those who worked or those who recognised the work of others by paying the fine were entitled to water. And so that's been a little bit of a tension for as long as I've been listening to people in community meetings, and also interviewing people about water. Yeah, they've recently started to deal with that tension by charging people a small fee for the water consumption from their taps in their houses. And over a certain amount of consumption, then they get a fine. So there's a slow kind of process of different kinds of work, I guess, of recognising different kinds of work and recognising different kinds of water and recognising different kinds of value. The labour value of water, the economic value of water.
Water here is also constructed or thought of as something more. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
People talk about water also as being a being. So, and their practices around water also speak to that understanding. So of course people understand that water has its economic value. They've lived in Chile since the water code. They know that the water rights have an economic value for the government and for the mining companies. But locally there's also an understanding of water as part of nature, which is a being, which is part of the broader kind of being that includes humans as well.
Y aquí doña Sara también.
Sí, eso también decimos de que algún día se va a terminar la minería y vamos a quedar como mal si esto se seca. Porque ya a lo mejor vamos a tener que volver a lo de antes, a cuidar ganado, a criar ganado y poder alimentarlos acá en La Vega, y si no hay agua La Vega va a estar seca. Y de hecho, bueno, ellos dicen que no hay daño, pero nosotros creemos que sí, porque si están extrayendo agua arriba, están extrayendo aquí mismo, está ahí el pozo que extraen agua, pensamos que como si ahora ya no llueve mucho, no cae mucha nieve, entonces ¿cómo se mantiene el agua?
Sí, sí, es el problema.
No puede ser. Yo creo que es más que está secándose La Vega y todo, porque es difícil que si sacan agua por arriba, por todos lados, es difícil que se mantenga. Es muy difícil porque no es tanta la lluvia ni tanta la nieve para que puedan mantenerse.